we point of discussion today could be the issue and the alleged proposed visa restrictions to Sierra Leone. Once again, good morning, Brian, and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon.
Very good morning. A pleasure to be here.
Since we last hosted you, a lot has happened, and one of which is the change of guard in the U.S. New president, new policies. Africa is concerned, Sierra Leoneans are concerned, and one of these policies or the shifts in the U.S. is the reduction of U.S. programs overseas. Sierra Leoneans would like to know, we start on that note, what is the status of USAID programs in Sierra Leone?
So I think it's far too early to make a conclusion as to whether it will be a reduction in U.S. programs overseas. Certainly, as Secretary Rubio has said on more than one occasion, the United States will continue to be a global leader in the provision of foreign assistance. The aims of the Trump-Vance administration are to make sure that when we provide foreign assistance, that foreign assistance is supportive of our overall foreign policy towards a country, which is appropriate. They want to make sure that every dollar we spend ultimately supports overall goals that the administration has and is consistent with their policy vision, which is what any administration would do in the United States. And then third, they want to make sure that every dollar we spend is getting to the intended recipients. They are very concerned that in some cases, our overseas development programs have provided an excessive amount of money towards bureaucratic overhead, and that the benefits have not been reaching the intended people who we want the money to go to. So they're taking a comprehensive review of our foreign assistance programming with those three goals in mind. It will mean that there will be changes to some of the priorities that we engage in. We're close to the end of that initial review of the State Department and USAID programs. We've made some decisions about what will be continued, some decisions about specific projects that won't move forward. Here in Sierra Leone, I think it's important to underscore that the main projects that we're engaged in health support, the President's Malaria Initiative, the Emergency Plan for HIV/AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, our ongoing programming on global health security, we have been approved to continue mechanisms under each of those programs, and we will continue to invest in those areas here in Sierra Leone going forward. Now, we may change the implementing partners. We will probably reduce the number of implementing partners to make sure that more of the money gets to the beneficiaries. But overall, we will continue to be a significant player in supporting Sierra Leone's health system. As far as USAID goes, the administration has serious concerns about how USAID has been structured over the years. They have undertaken a comprehensive review of that organization. They intend to do some restructuring, but the contours of that restructuring have not yet been determined. So it's too early for me to be able to tell you exactly which agencies will be moving funding through in the future.
But when you look at the global initiative, or from the US policy perspective, they've reduced funding to some of these programs, like the HIV programs. Does this in any way affect Sierra Leone?
So there's been no reduction to the funding here in Sierra Leone for HIV/AIDS programming.
Okay. Earlier, we talked about the reason for the United States government is to cutting down some of these supports is as a result of concerns you have. Let's look at some of the concerns that you have. What are these concerns the United States government have to a point that you are planning to cut down some of these aids?
So I wouldn't say, again, I'm not sure it's going to be a reduction in overall assistance. It's much too early to make that conclusion. What we are likely to do is to reduce the number of implementing partners that we have, because every time we use a new implementing partner, that means more bureaucracy. It means more money that doesn't go to the beneficiaries at the ground level. So we're likely to reduce the number of implementing partners. And there are some areas where the Trump-Vance administration does not believe we should be providing foreign assistance. For example, family planning is one of those areas that we will not be moving forward with in the future. That's because of the policy of the Trump-Vance administration. You will have seen we withdrew from the Paris Climate Change Agreement. So we're unlikely to be providing climate change financing in the future. That's because of our overall foreign policy approach in the new administration on those issues.
The United States government is also supporting the Presidential Initiative Malaria Program. What is the status of that program? Are you going to continue to support that program or not?
Yes, we are. The President's Malaria Initiative will continue. We have already been authorized to continue with the programming through two of the implementing partners under that program that support both the procurement of commodities for the country and the work on monitoring mosquito control efforts, providing the insecticide treated nets, working with your entomological institute here. So that programming will continue under PMI.
Let's look at the implementation aspect of this program from the United States government point of view. Are you satisfied with the implementation aspect?
I would say we can always do better. I think in any development program, we can always do better in terms of implementation. The president has challenged us to find ways that we can do better, that we can be more effective. We at the State Department take that challenge head on, and I'm confident that with the reforms that we're making, we will see more effective programs with more money getting to the beneficiaries.
Now, you earlier mentioned that the US is still restructuring to see where they can spend or not. For Sierra Leone's perspective, after that restructuring, where do you think funding will be stopped? Or which programs do you think will suffer?
So it's much too early for me to make broad conclusions about what will happen at the end of those reforms. What I can say is that I'm very confident the programming that we have around certain areas of health is going to continue. I'm quite confident that we will continue to work very hard to promote private sector investment here in Sierra Leone and all of the various components of that through the US government. The reality is that we still have to await decisions out of Washington before I can give you the full picture of what our assistance will look like. But I know there is commitment, at least in those two areas, which make up the vast majority of what we do here in Sierra Leone, to continue to move forward.
That takes me to one of your programs, that's the MCC. With this restructuring, what will happen to the MCC and what is the current status of it?
So the MCC compact was signed in September. That compact remains in force. There is no move at this time on the part of either the US government or the government of Sierra Leone to pull out of that compact.
So even with the restructuring, you said the compact will still remain intact.
As of right now, the compact is intact and we have no instructions and we've taken no steps by the US government to withdraw from it.
Would it be possible if there is restructuring for US government to touch that compact because it has gone through the Senate?
Yeah, so I don't want to get into too much speculation. What I will say is that as with every international agreement, there are clauses that allow either Sierra Leone or the United States to withdraw from the compact under certain terms and conditions. Neither side has expressed an interest in using those provisions at this time. So what may happen 6 months from now, 8 months from now, 12 months from now, I'm not going to get into speculation about that. What I can say is that as of right now, the compact is in force. Neither side has initiated any process to withdraw from.
And you're optimistic about the implementation so far as the ambassador?
So I think that the implementation on the MCC side, I believe we have very solid program designs. I believe that those designs benefit both Sierra Leone and the United States. I'm quite confident that as the compact is implemented, we will see significant economic benefits to both countries.
One of the objectives of the MCC compact is to support Sierra Leone in terms of restructuring the electricity problem. You've been in the country and you've seen the electricity challenge. Sierra Leoneans listening to you may want to know how will the US Embassy fast track the process of implementation of the MCC project?
So the primary challenge with Sierra Leone's power sector right now at this moment is generation. The reality is that there is not enough power being generated on a consistent basis for the demand that Sierra Leone has. The MCC is not the short-term solution to that problem. It was never intended to be. The MCC is about long-term power sector development, long-term infrastructure. The immediate crisis is best solved in two ways. First, and this is where the United States can help, by bringing in more private sector power generation. And we're already looking at that, both in terms of emergency power generation that can come in through US companies and through the fast tracking of longer term projects like Nant Energy. The second area, and I think we have to be very honest here, is that a large part of the problem is that EDSA has not been able to pay its bills to the private sector power generators. The reason EDSA cannot pay its bills is because institutions and individuals in Sierra Leone are not paying their bills to EDSA. That has to change. If we want to have reliable power in this country, those of us that are using and receiving EDSA power have to pay our bills. If that does not happen, we're not going to be able to attract private sector generators into the market, and we're going to continue to have this problem where power bills cannot be paid.
Okay, the program na Good Morning Salon, they listen to the US Ambassador na Salon, Brand David Hunt. They inside the program for can talk about the alleged visa restriction to Sierra Leone from the US government. But when they look at programs them with the US government being done, the implement in a salon. Now when they look at the MCC, and the MCC was tied to the unity agreement on the implementation. How far has that implementation gone?
So the implementation on the Agreement for National Unity continues to move forward. I was very pleased that the government and the opposition finally agreed on the release of detainees last week and the week before. I think that's a major step forward and one that everyone has been pushing for really since the agreement was signed. I know that the steering committee for the implementation of the tripartite recommendations met yesterday and reviewed the status of where those recommendations are. We are making progress, both in terms of drafting legislation and drafting new regulations that will go into place for the electoral management bodies. So while the process is certainly a lengthy one, and it was always intended to be a lengthy one, I think that we are making the progress that's necessary for the Agreement for National Unity and the tripartite recommendations to be implemented in more than sufficient time for entry into force of the MCC compact, and more importantly, frankly, in time for the 2028 elections.
The United States served as one of the moral guarantors during the signing of the unity agreement. With the are you satisfied with the implementation from both sides, the government and the opposition?
So we're not a moral guarantor. We were never a moral guarantor. That was left to the United Nations and international organizations. We've been a development partner and we've been supporting the agreement, but we're certainly not one of the formal moral guarantors that the two sides laid out. But as far as the agreement goes, I think both the government and the opposition remain committed to doing everything they can to implement the agreement. There are certainly areas in which both sides could pay enhanced attention, but I think rather than looking at what they're not doing, it's more important to look at what they have been able to achieve. And I believe that both the government and the opposition have made considerable strides in trying to live up to the agreement, to narrow the gap between the two parties, to build national unity, to move forward with election reforms for the people of Sierra Leone. So while one can easily sit on the outside and criticize and say, we wish you'd done that, we wish you'd done this, what I prefer to do is to look at where they have made progress and continue to encourage them to address the outstanding issues that need to be addressed.
Continue to stay with us, Brian David Hunt. In the program, we come to you on the visa issues after this break. The program Good Morning Saloon, they continue. We'll go for a short break.
Back to Max. Bet to win weekly sports bets promo. Bet a minimum of 10 leons with Betomax online at betomax.sl and stand the chance to win up to 25,000 leons every week. Yes, 25,000 leons every Monday. Don't miss out on free money. Wow! Place your bet now and get in on the action. The more you bet, the better your chances of winning big. Betomax. Bet to win. Bet smart. Win big. Win big. Win big. But remember, only 18 years plus and terms and conditions apply. Always bet responsibly.
We road not for you, so you for take 10 use If you walk or they drive, you for always take care. When you follow the road signs, you go know waiting for to. If you the walker or they drive, make sure you understand the sign. When you the walker, shafu. When you the drive.
The Sierra Leone Road Safety Authority, SLRSA, they tell the general public
CSW program where they happen now in the United Nations headquarters in New York. Well, a talk more to Sabti Kalon inside this interview.
Well, this year's CSW is a success because honestly, we get a lot of side events that we host as a country, and we participate by a lot of bilaterals, and some of the topics that we really take part in, we get for do with Sierra Leone. In as much as this get for do with the whole world, but we concerned about Sierra Leone because MUC say Salon don't really do well in terms of women's empowerment.
The side event on the 69 session, take we through how many we do attend, we presence day, and waiting don't be your contribution.
Well, I don't attend 4, and I continue for attend. As I talk to you, just come on attend 2, and to myself, when at the 17th, we get 2 more until Thursday. So for me, my contribution don't be, in fact, waiting I take part by way be so paramount at the human peace and security, because we find out, say, for like we able for increase the participation of women and girls, we go forget security, we go forget peace. Because without that, women they no for participate in anything. And me feel say for long get sustainable peace and development in Sierra Leone, women they go be part and parcel of them.
So in the different session we do attend and side events, the focus key now on women and girls. What do you go see about your assessment of the different speaker and panelists them? You think this salon in situation resonates with them, or we they in a different space?
In fact, Salon are a perfect example right now where the whole of Africa and even the international community they use.
Okay.
They cannot forget, say, before the 11 years of war, you don't be the Igbo woman participation at Salon. And very few, so 1 or 2 woman ministers, or say 1 deputy. But when the war done, one of the mandate that we the TRCB say, we forget at least minimum 30% coastal representation of women at all levels. And under this current government, we're able to achieve that. Look at the number of female parliamentarians they will get. Look at the number of councillors, female deputies, and female ministers, and female women the way they head agencies. So for me, this year's CSW, it resonates well with Sierra Leone because everybody uses you as a perfect example. Say, look, Salon will be the BNB and try, but look side and don't they now. Although they expect more, but really, Salon they do bad at all. The whole conference is about women and girls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you talk about CSW, that's we go for those women and girl picking them. And now in country, we don't put laws, policies, positive one, then we protect and promote women business in our country. So for me, I think say the CSW this year, it resonates well with Salon, and we the benefits out of them.
So in terms of you saying Salon a perfect example inside the 69th session on the Commission of Status of Women, you think say Salon need for do more, or from always when I go do what thing will be your personal take home for go ensure say even though you don't state say Salon do more, but let una not feel too relaxed?
Complacency with a pull on our agenda.
Okay.
Yes, we don't do more, we don't get more seats, we don't get more positions and everything, but that is not all. Not for every woman deep in politics. Don't forget to get women within the agricultural sector. You get women within the private sector. So the economic aspect of the GIWI, we really need to focus on that. That will not achieve it. We not do nothing banana. So now that aspect that we need to pay attention, because not everybody deep in politics. So many things say yes, Salon don't do more, but still the women of Sierra Leone want more. You cannot forget we have 51% of the population. And for that you get sustained and effective development, unless alone deal at the development agenda, then for able to bring down the women folk. If you're able to bring down the 51% of the population, now they pass and parcel of everything they have. That make if you listen to other countries like Gambia, I was so impressed when I listened to the Minister of Gender. Some of the policies that we talk about, then go to the universities, then come for bring policies and can we try for the link that the FGM will struggle so in the country. How for handle FGM? What's in the Gambia? Then bring experts from the university and so then look at the policies. Then try for the link FGM from religion. Then try for the link FGM from other aspects of it, so that at the end of the day, we will able to get better policies. We will able to protect women and girls picking in a salon.
So in one joint side event between Salone and Liberia, one speaker talk about female financial empowerment. After we hear from a current NP from Liberia, we talk about the challenge where women can get in some Africa country if they're not financially empowered, if they want to go for political position. You think that's kind key points there in any way? Now one, we also don't affect some women them back home, we can go for political position them.
In fact, that's not just peculiar to Africa or Sierra Leone.
Okay.
It's all over the world. We don't say we talk about poverty, they don't feminize poverty. Now, woman, then we poor. Now we don't get property, now we don't get land, now we don't get access to finance. And politics these days, you know they're able to participate in politics effectively and efficiently if you don't get money. So now that makes when you look at even the GIWI, where Salon gets financial inclusion of women in a part of the GIWI. Now that make a mention and say that aspect they will need for concentration so that we're able to empower the woman financially and economically so that they're able not only in politics, in even other aspects of their life. If women want to do agriculture, you need money. If women want to do business, you need money. So money are the key aspects we will need for let the other aspects of empowerment come into fruition.
That now the presidential advisor on gender, Aissata Jabi Kabadi talked to Sabtu Kalon inside the interview. They also say for make Salon develop, the need for the more position there. And he talked that for circa the 69 CSW meeting where they happen now at the United Nations headquarters in New York. The program na Good Morning Salon.
We still get the US ambassador now. Salon will come back so that we look at the issue of visa, where people get plenty concern about. But we'll continue to look at issues. Take one part with headline stories that we will say the Minister of Health, Dr. Austin Demby, say the on the spot light check where then they begin do now all the districts in the country go address the challenge where people don't they get access to quality well body service now the region them. They talk this way, the ministry and then partner them go tell the media, but on the spotlight check where then they begin do all the districts them now the country for say government will achieve the universal health coverage by 2030. From this we join Karifa to contain.
Goal 3 at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 17. They say good health and well-being. Where this now for say people get access to quality healthcare service in the country, no matter the region, age, tribe or color. And Salon, now one part the country then at the world, where don't they work for say they achieve universal health coverage by 2030. Now for this make government through the Ministry of Health and then partner them. They begin to on the spotlight check. Now all the districts in the country. Outside this on the spotlight check. Now one way well body work man them, government and then partner them. They do for identify the different challenge them where community health center then they get for provide healthcare service to people in the different districts them. Dr. Austin Demby, now the Minister of Health, talk more about this on the spotlight check where the ministry they begin for do.
Let us go to every district and have a major spotlight on the district to see how all of these things are going on. We know that it's not perfect, but it gives us an opportunity to look at what's working, what's not working, how do we adjust, how do we shift, how do we change, focusing on health outcomes. All of that should translate to what have we done for pregnant women? What are we doing for these young babies who are coming in, especially those that need extra care? What are we doing for the adolescents? What are we doing for the adults? What are we doing for the senior citizens in every district? We want to go district by district. Initially we call it spotlight, times we call it the train, but this is the train that doesn't pass through the district. It stops in the district and we spotlight and we see everything and go district by district to see how things are working.
But waiting the ministry wants for achieve. After this on the spotlight check now all the districts in the country, Dr. Austin Demby again.
Two major areas. One is services, medical services. We want to see how primary health care actually works in the district setting. The other aspect of it is we want to see how secondary health care, the hospitals, how they work within the district, primary health care and secondary services. We also want to understand what the referral systems are like. Well, like most babies, most pregnancies managed at the local level, but if they're complex cases, you want to identify them early and refer them to the secondary facility. We want to see how that works. That's around clinical service. The other major part that we're looking at, the other system that we're going to be looking at is health security, which is looking at preparedness. How are you prepared? Or first, how do you prevent outbreaks from occurring in the first place? How do you prevent outbreaks at the district level?
Where Emily talk, the Director of Primary Health Care, now the Ministry of Health, Dr. Brahma Osayo Kamara say, this on the spotlight check, go help government's commitment for bringing quality healthcare service to people when they call primary health care.
As a ministry, I think this spotlight on district is going to be the game changer for the primary healthcare transformation. Because if we really work very well in the district, and at the end of the day, what we will achieve. That's why we are fired up going back down to Moamba district, and I'm too sure after Moamba district, that will be a game changer for the rest of the 14 other districts that we'll be talking about.
As this initiative, now one where the Ministry of Health been start from 2023 for improve healthcare service na Salone, make the country representative na World Health Organization, Dr. George Ame, talk about the role when they play for make the ministry able to achieve and address the challenge where they go fair not, now then different districts here.
For us in the UN, it is something that we are clearly identified with, elevated to one of the few joint and flagship programs of the UN within Sierra Leone. We shall be there from the beginning and we shall accompany you. Talk of a train, as you said, it's not a train that will go and, it is a train that will continue to circulate around the district to make sure that the health outcomes that the minister has clearly articulated are achieved. I shall be going along with a team of technicians to accompany the ministry from 4 to 5 agencies so that we understand very well the kind of support that is needed to really elevate it to a flagship program. One look is worth 1,000 pages. So we're going to look to understand what is needed to really ensure the success of this program and then come back and tune our own assistance, sell it to other donors within and outside Sierra Leone, and then accompany the ministry on a short, medium term and long term.
As this on the spotlight check, they start Friday, March 21 this year in Moamba district, Radio Democracy. Go continue for giving an update on the spotlight check when the Ministry of Health they begin doing all the districts in the country. For the Society for Radio Democracy, Mina Karifa to consider the report.
Taste the magic, na Coca-Cola. Fresh and new with new look. Sip the joy and feel the fun. Every moment, get Boku Magic. Fanta, Sprite, Vimto, and Parrot energy drink. Then taste so refreshing you go always want more. Then are also for sale for both wholesale and retail. So for delivery, now for call the number +232 30 32 8618. Coca-Cola. They also give you the amazing opportunity for becoming a distributor across Salone. Just call the number +232 30 32 8618. Coca-Cola, real magic.
This na bomba promotion. UTB don ready for your back-end customer then. This na the UTB Ramadan promotion. What do you wait for? And for qualify for this promotion, easy. All you need for do, now for send or receive money through UTB Couple, or for any money where you receive from UTB through Western Union, REA, MoneyGram, BNB, you stand chance for win big inside this promotion. In on tap day, same way so, you can invest through fixed deposits or with treasury bill and still stand chance for win Babala prize them from Union Trust Bank. So you see, UTB don't make them easy for you. This is a special Ramadan for UTB then special customer there. UTB Ramadan promotion. UTB, the better bank.
Is a fast-acting, effective, and safe anti-malaria drug that contains artemether and lumefantrine. Lockmouth is a first-line agent in the treatment of all forms of malaria, including multi-drug resistant strains of malaria parasites. Lockmouth, another quality product from Emzo Pharmaceuticals. Emzo, experience unlimited wellness. Consult your doctor if symptoms persist.
The kids are running wild again. Your boss is on your back. You're exhausted and run down, and every man you know is complaining about how tired they are. Why not re-energize with M-Vite Super? M-Vite Super Soft Gel capsules are packed full of ginseng, vitamins and minerals, enough to reduce stress and boost energy, especially during convalescence. And they're available at Emzor pharmacies and other pharmacies nationwide. Experience unlimited wellness with M-Vite Super, only from Emzor.
The program is still listening. Good morning, Salome. They come to from 98.1 FM. We still get the U.S. ambassador, Salome inside the studio with Brian David Hunt. We're inside the program for response to concern them. Brian, there has been a concern and there has been a list making rounds that Sierra Leone is being listed on a proposed visa restriction list, which the U.S. might agree to. Is the U.S. embassy aware of this list, or you've seen it?
So first, let me be very clear. There are no visa restrictions on Sierra Leoneans. Visa operations are continuing as normal at the U.S. Embassy. People are free to use their visas that they may have to travel to the United States in accordance with the terms of those visas. The president, at the outset of the administration, made combating illegal migration to the United States his highest priority. As part of that, he asked the Department of State and our colleagues at the Department of Homeland Security to take a comprehensive look at our visas and immigration systems to make sure that we were doing everything possible to prevent illegal migration to the United States. And he asked us to prepare a report for him that included specific proposals as to what he might consider doing in order to further strengthen the security of our visa system. Those deliberations are ongoing. There are no policy proposals that have gone forward to the White House. There are no policy proposals that have been signed out by the Secretary of State. We are at the very early stages of what is a deliberative process. Now, in the course of a deliberative process in the United States, lots of proposals get put on the table. Lots of things get discussed at the working level. We believe in an open and free exchange of ideas, and we encourage people within our government service to think creatively about ideas that might go forward. But at this stage, nothing has been decided, nothing has been proposed, nothing is at a place for implementation. We are still in the very early stages of what is a deliberative process.
According to the New York Times, it is not an agreement yet. It has not been signed, but it's just an internal discussion, and Sierra Leone is being proposed.
Well, look, I don't comment on the content of internal discussions within the U.S. bureaucracy, specifically because those aren't policy proposals. Those aren't policies. Those aren't things that have gone forward to decision makers and been signed off on by decision makers in our government. Lots of things get discussed that never see the light of day. So we don't talk about the content of internal deliberations. The only thing that I will say about the New York Times article is that if you look at the list in the New York Times and you look at the list that was in Reuters, those lists are not the same. So it's very clear just by the nature of the reporting that whoever thinks they know what's going on clearly does not have the full picture.
Now, New York Times is a very big newspaper in the US, and they have been writing such stories. Perhaps they have an insider. Have you cross-checked that?
So first, Reuters and the New York Times both publish stories, and the stories don't agree with one another. So it's whoever thinks they know what's going on clearly does not. I would encourage the people of Sierra Leone to get their information from the U.S. government, not from people who think they have sources somewhere who might know something, who might want to put out a good story, either to embarrass the U.S. administration, to cause problems between the United States and foreign countries. So I would simply say at this stage, there are no decisions. There is no visa restriction policy. There is no instructions to the embassy to impose such a policy. So I understand there's a lot of speculation in social media, but I would encourage people, if they have questions about whether visa operations are ongoing, whether they can use their visas to travel to the United States, both of which they can, they should look at the embassy website and to official sources of information, not reports of sources of sources of sources.
This was an information published on the New York Times, and also we understand it was an internal deliberation. Again, but you've already denied that there is no visa restriction on Sierra Leone. But one may want to ask if the United States government have concern on the visa process in Sierra Leone.
We have very serious concerns about Sierra Leoneans who misuse their visas when they go to the United States. 15% of Sierra Leoneans who travel on tourist and business visas overstay. 35% of those who travel on student visas remain illegally in the United States. This cannot continue. We need to see Sierra Leoneans using their visas in accordance with U.S. law. That means no overstays. That means no working on a tourist visa. That means adhering to the terms of the student visa. This is a top priority for the current U.S. administration. And we are going to need, if use of visas does not change, to look at the full range of options that are available to us to secure the visa process, because we cannot continue to see overstay rates of 15-35% from Sierra Leoneans. It's just not a sustainable situation. Just as Sierra Leone expects every U.S. citizen who comes here to use their visa appropriately, we expect every Sierra Leonean who goes to the United States to use their visa appropriately.
You've just given statistics of Sierra Leoneans you believe, according to you, that misuse their visas. This concern, let's look at the impact it has on both countries, especially on Sierra Leone.
So the reality is the impact is on the United States. Those people do not have a legal right to be present in the United States, full stop. We cannot continue to tolerate people violating our laws. We do not issue visas so that people can go and do things contrary to U.S. law. Visas are not a right. Visas are a privilege. We allow people to travel to the United States based on the fact that they tell us they are going for legitimate reasons that are permitted under our law. When they choose to stay and take jobs away from Americans and legal permanent residents and those who have decided to follow the law and obtain immigration benefits legally, that's not fair. That's not right, and it damages our society.
When we hosted you the last time, there was a concern that people raised concern that most times when they go for visa interviews, they don't have the visas. And now perhaps it is maybe out of 200 they give two. These concerns has been there. It seems as if the restriction is enforced.
Well, those aren't visa restrictions. Those are individual decisions that are made based upon the applications that are filed at the time. We do everything possible to ascertain whether or not what someone is telling us they plan to do in the United States is what they actually plan to do. We have a large number of Sierra Leoneans who apply for visas who have intentions of remaining in the United States. We do our very best not to issue visas to those people. And even with our best efforts, 15% of those are still overstaying. So I would say our visa decisions are spot on. There is going to continue to be a very high refusal rate for Sierra Leoneans applying for visas to the United States until such time as the overstay rate goes down.
How true is it that diplomatic passport holders, Sierra Leone's diplomatic passport holders, are now invited for an interview before visa is being issued?
Well, that depends upon the purpose of the travel. That depends upon the information that we receive from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. There's never been a policy in place that diplomatic or official visa holders were absolutely exempt from an interview. There've always been cases where they are asked to come in because there are questions about the purpose of their travel, or they are traveling for personal reasons, or a host of other situations. So it's always situationally dependent. Clearly, when we can, and when we know that someone is a legitimate traveler for government business, we extend the courtesies of not doing an interview. But there are cases where diplomatic and official passport holders are traveling for non-government business, or are traveling for purported government business that we can't verify without having them come for an interview.
So they have to go.
Sometimes it depends.
Now, let's look at the visa issues. Are you aware that there has been a huge backlog of immigrant visa applications, specifically IR and CR visas, waiting to be scheduled for an interview by the embassy? And the embassy stopped with applications that were documentary qualification in December 2023. What is the reason for this huge backlog for over 1 year now, and what is the embassy doing about it?
So there's not a huge backlog. I don't know where that information comes from. We process immigrant visas when they are assigned to us by the National Visa Center, which handles the scheduling of such cases. The reality is there are a large number of Sierra Leoneans seeking immigrant visas. It's not possible to do all of those immigrant visas in a single day. And yes, oftentimes immigrant visas take multiple years to process because of the documentary requirements, and because we only allow so many people under each category of the immigrant visa to go every year.
You earlier talked about measures put in place to cut down the number of Sierra Leoneans overstaying in the United States. What are these measures that your government have put in place? Are we going to see any process of deportation?
So in terms of Sierra Leoneans who are already illegally in the United States, President Trump has been very clear that we intend to deport every illegal immigrant who we can find who is in the United States right now. So if people from Sierra Leone are living illegally in the United States, they are absolutely subject to detention and deportation by our immigration services. I would strongly encourage those who are living illegally to depart now before they end up encountering folks from our immigration services, because the president is very serious about the need and the instruction to have every illegal immigrant leave the United States.
And I was meant to understand that there are a lot of transfer cases from other U.S. embassies to Freetown, U.S. embassy, for an immigrant visa. Due to these many transfers, Sierra Leone citizens are constrained in having on-time visa appointments scheduled for immigrants' visa interviews. What is the embassy doing in making sure that Sierra Leonean citizens stand out or are priority in scheduling visa interviews in Freetown?
So that's not how our system works. Any embassy can process any case for immigrant visas that the National Visa Center chooses to assign to them. Any nationality who is resident in Sierra Leone can request that their case be handled by the embassy here in Freetown. The National Visa Center does not put Sierra Leoneans at the top of the queue for processing here for immigrant visas. The way that they assign cases is based upon when they were received, when the documents were appropriately submitted, and where the applicant is resident and is asked to have their interview conducted.
Appointment has been one of the huge challenge of the U.S. Embassy at the U.S. Embassy recently, and it is rumored that a huge staff shortage has resulted to this at the U.S. Embassy. And the embassy was regarded as one of the fastest. Now it is being regarded as one of the slowest embassies in terms of scheduling interview for visas. What is the embassy doing, or how true are these concerns?
So the non-immigrant visa processing, which I think is what you're referring to, the number of case requests has gone up significantly because people from other places in Africa realized that our wait times were far lower than other places in West Africa and have started to apply for interviews here. Now, it's perfectly fine for people to apply for interviews at any U.S. embassy anywhere in the globe for a non-immigrant visa. We allow that, but because we are now getting significantly increased requests for interviews, the wait times are going to be longer at the embassy here. Our staffing has not increased or decreased. It remains the same as it always was. But when the volume of requests goes up, that means people are going to have to wait longer.
This one says, please, I am a DB winner 2025, but interview at the embassy has been going very slow, and it's only remaining 4 months to the end of the program. They have only interviewed few out of thousands, and it has become worrisome. Other embassies are performing tremendously, while Sierra Leone is very slow in scheduling interviews.
Well, first, I don't think Sierra Leone's wait times at the embassy here are much lower still than wait times in many other embassies in West Africa, both for immigrant and for non-immigrant visas. I can't comment on specific cases without knowing the details, because it would, whether or not this individual's case will go forward and when it will go forward is dependent upon when he or she filed their paperwork, when the case was considered completed by the National Visa Center, and where they stand in the queue vis-a-vis other visa lottery winners and other categories of immigrant visas. So there's a lot that goes into these decisions that without having the full case file, it's impossible to say why this particular case was delayed or not.
David Brian Hunt, U.S. Ambassador to Sierra Leone, continues to stay with us in the program. The program now Good Morning Salon, and they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy, 98.1 FM, and they take one per the headlines to read them. The first Minister of Youth Affairs, Mohamed Omar Bangra, say by the time he left office, he left the ministry in account over 3 billion loans. Mohamed Omar Bangra talk this way, he go and over the Ministry of Youth, document them and other property them to the Deputy Minister of Youth. For more on this, make a journey with reporter Master Swage.
Mohamed Omar Bangoura, first Minister of Youth Affairs, don't be household name in the youth sector, and as one per President Bill, in longest serving minister. Now one position since President Bill come 2018, but Monday, March 17 this year, as always, it pleases the President. Letter come out from State House, we say they don't sack Mohamed Omar Bangoura and other people from President Bill in government. As always, now be the term for making hand over the mantle of leadership. This term, not also the next Minister of Youth Affairs, but the deputy. And this now be the exact situation during the term where Mohamed Omar Bangoura be the hand over documents and other property them of the ministry.
Whosoever I want. At the point of leadership, you get for hot people. Sorry. It's tough, but with the level family. I really cry because of the job, but faces like other families, now we spend all of the time. You come at 6, sometimes 7, you left at 9, 8.
As you get from Mohamed Omar Bangoura, na be emotional moments for him, as he may cry loud and clear, way according to him, and cry na because of the relationship where he gets with the workman them, and self young people, where don't they work for, but with the Oman do in term as the Minister of Youth Affairs.
There are so many things where young people remember before, you know. They remember before, they go say that Kawash minister, no so. They go say that first minister of youth where they audit, so to so. They go say that first minister where start national youth service, so to so. They go say that first minister where give 191 Excel to every children meet leader, not so. They go say that first minister of youth will bring development partners back to the ministry. Not so. Then we say that first minister we're going to election 2023, he left billions. He go come, he meet him back. Not so. They go say that first minister, that minister we left accounting with millions. Not so. Then remember me said that first minister we if that first minister we after the KK don't put in all the don't mobilize resources for buy electric cars. Not so. So there are so many reasons. Then go say that first minister we go Mongo, the first government building. na Falaba district mongo. Ami bilang na all the president bill.
But apart of them projects here, Mohammed Omar Bangura say he left good couple at the Ministry of Youth Affairs account for development projects them.
To date, as I left the ministry since Monday, I'm pleased to tell you as a whatever account we call Impress accounts. Impress accounts are accounts where they deal with the policy and other things. I left 207,000. That including 207 million. This are the money we left for status of youth. Don't really now money will go over from last year. And I also use this opportunity to tell young people, especially the KK recovery, the team did very good job. To date, we get 100% loan recovery. And again, we get Youth in Fishy gets about 235,000 in there, in the accounts now as I speak. And again, the commodity livelihood gets about 15,000, and it gets UNFP account. UNFP accounts get over 1.3 thousand and 1.3 million. And so far now the accounts are now that tell you say even though government of Sierra Leone disburse no sentence, the ministry gets over 3 billion with it.
In all of this information, we don't go around now that President sack Omar Bangura because it involved some corruption activity then.
There's an incident I did for updates because about I heard about the lady who say Unisa, the youth envoy. By the way, Unisa is somebody who me the supervise directly according to your appointments. I got a gist about share the things that will be happen, call the management, we discuss them, and then decide say let me suspend them. That was a management decision. That was all the way beginning from last year. And we take the decision January this year. And the deputy minister and one of the people who will be the champion now one day. I'm not ever Sabia. They said when they come on Monday morning, I call the CID headquarters. Say, I see this lady say maybe they receive money from UNISA. But when I ask UNISA, I say, do you know this lady? Say, man, I'm a girlfriend. He said, a relationship go bad. So all the time for doing that for blackmail me. When you go make the official complaint, you not mention anything like the Ministry of Youth being part of the deal, neither me the minister. So I don't know why you say that one day on social media, and if he retracts, if he shows to get facts, that's fine. If he not sure to get facts, as a young person again, you'll have to forgive when he retracts.
When they tell goodbye to the first minister, the acting minister, now the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Patrick Michaelson Jibrila, talk about some between them, where you always remember Mohammed Omar Bangura for.
He has been a mentor to this sector. I tell him and say, Oman not go there physically in this office, but Oman is also the legend of this ministry because I know the longest service minister and this chief director will be done there. For access to that. But let us serve consistently 7 years, meaning a day on top of the deal. And the president pleased with him. However, he is still within the youth circle, the youth sector circle. He has been there for us. He has advocated. I don't act Vietnam, I don't go cabinet Vietnam. We don't present issues in cabinet Vietnam, but in consultation with them, we don't go with the minister. And it was very tough for me because this is a brother who always hold my back. For 2 years, probably one of the ministry will not ever get confusion. We go before president or even the first family.
Patrick Michaelson Jibrila end up say they will continue for implement some of the projects then where the first minister Mohammed Omar Bangura don't left as they believe say young people will benefit for the Society for Real Democracy. Mastan Soiree the report.
Send una text message. And also on Facebook. Una don't send una text messages them on 077981981 also on our Facebook page. We can look at them, but quick we look at one concern who say if people follow news allegation be common. We say 2 pikin die na the Pentecostal nursery school where according to allegation now the school authorities them responsible. But this, according to the publicity secretary for the National Pentecostal Church Salon, Celestine Musa Masare, say the church not get hand, but then picking their then die one. Now the Pentecostal nursery school for street. A talk this way been a deny allegation for Seka, we then say the mission responsible for them picking them die one. Celestine Musa Masare talk more to Cherno Jalo inside this interview.
With deepest condolences to the parents. It's unfortunate that people can just peddle around things that were not correct. The matter in the police now, we go through the CID, they investigate the matter, but for let me just make them clear, not to the church kill this MPK.
Why somebody within a little corner and begin to point finger at the whole institution like that one they say, in your words, perhaps say the church involved in whatever before happened to the picking here?
I don't really understand. But what I can say to the public now that the church not going to be used as a conduit for condole, fraudulent, and criminal activities of that kind. The right to life so sacrosanct that we want to promote the safety of everybody where they exist. So for we forget a hand into the death of them picking and they defeat the very purpose for which the church is established. So I want to say no to the public, contrary to waiting in the area, not to we do one, and we will never do it.
As a church, what's now your understanding about the whole issue?
Well, I don't want to go deep into the issue because then at the police now they investigate. Which we know that the midday on Tuesday, the report say the parent then come for them picking that we understand, say the teacher tell them, say then they are around because them books and other materials will then come out from home in day. So they mean get a conductor shot with them, do right around the campus, the church facility and the school. I am sure they'll not be able to forget anything. We will lead them to that. But in the late hours of Tuesday, going to the midnight, we notice something like that happen. But the detail of it, like I say, we don't want to prejudice the investigation. We want for left hand for the law enforcers, let them do due diligence and make sure say justice is served.
I want to go take that information. They also don't kind of premises during the day. They don't search the entire premises. They don't see the body them only for late 12 o'clock na night. Then carry report say the body them they inside one motorcar.
Like I tell you before now, we are all devastated. We're so confused. We are shocked. We don't know what to foresee at the moment. But like I don't say earlier on, I want to let the public try for the filter the information before they take to the social media for establish a court where they try people unjustly. I think going forward, let me learn for cherish facts over rumors. Let me try for maintain patience over haste. So we go forget the conclusive detail of what really went wrong, who did what in the end.
This most kind of question. Now that get up.
Contrary to rumors, they say they see the picking there inside the bishop in motorcar. No, that's not correct. With bishop in number, get the registration number NPM 001. And the vehicle outside them pick here, then fend them now AJA 671. Now the vehicle registration number. So that vehicle they don't park now that compound for almost 3 years now, covered with dust. If now vehicle with the bishop they use, you go see say always clean. No, they don't park there for the longest of time. They undergo some maintenance.
People for the bishop.
No, that's not to the bishop, not to the bishop, not to the bishop get that motorcar either. No, not to you.
Did that motorcar be the law?
Sure, very, very tight one. A male engine car, Jeep. They were familiar with motorcar engine. No say, it's always locked.
So again, if the motorcar be the law, how the picking them able to fend themselves inside them?
That is a matter for the police now for say. Yeah, because like I don't want to say anything now we go damage the investigation.
So in all of this, what do the church want for actually happen?
Now justice. I want to tell the parents them say we dey into this together. Like I say, we not go be a conduit for criminal activities.
Una aware of the concern from parents them where they say allegedly one panic picking and make mention say the people will survive. Say now one auntie will go with them.
That is again a matter for the police to say.
For now, how many people from the church they under police investigation?
We they talk about we bishop they and wife and picking them, of course the headmistress and 2 other teachers. They now
the bishop now within the premises they
yeah, now in house.
What about the teachers and are they self
No.
When I get information say some of the picking and they take part from them or with them.
That is what the social media is peddling. For me, I don't want to say no because we wait for the autopsy reports. We go come out soon, and this year they go confirm.
So I want to take the one situation so they got up now for make a whole premises like that one day. People and they around something like that one day happen all of a sudden for lane and net place with fence. Then go see the body them inside somebody motor car, and as they get up again, would I get the motor car because I know we don't make mention of that one day.
Yeah, the motor car now a member of the church gets it.
Okay. Instead of a police custody?
No, not really.
Okay. So I want to take that one situation there for that one day happen inside that one premises. There's so many people in the on a daily basis without nobody not see, nobody not hear you.
That's the mystery. Way as I talk to you, so now I'm confused. No waiting for say because everybody devastated.
So far, the police don't start the investigation and trust in the process.
Yeah, we trust 100%
on the police for carry out the investigation. Sure. Okay.
Celestian Musa Mansari, Publicity Secretary, National Pentecostal Church Salon, they deny allegations say not to the church get hand by the killing of two picking them with an alleged say then die at the school compound this BN10. The program Good Morning Salon they continue. We go for a short break. We can look at una message body they celebrating birthday and today somebody we all can call Big Sis Theo Diora Rena. Are you hear me?
Indeed, well, today, the Mami incest, who can normally call the house Big Sis, Theodore Arena, in birthday today. Well, we want to say on behalf of staff and management of Radio Democracy, we want to wish you, Theodore Arena, a happy birthday, and we pray that this day could bring you joy, happiness, and all that you ask for.
We call on all the friends of Theo for Kamna 98, and as usual, we get Glady Theo say it invite to all NRA, Civil Aviation Authority, Crown Bakery, Awoko, and court reporters, senior assistant court reporter, Magistrate Sakekura, Magistrate Bangura, Magistrate Mamako, all the magistrates and justice them as this now your court reporter. Theo, happy birthday, have a blast.
Chinese Embassy as well.
Oh, Chinese Embassy, yes. We invite to now all. The program, good morning. We are going to send messages them on 077981981. We take messages them inside the program Good Morning Saloon. And this one say thank you Radio Democracy for having the ambassador to clarify some of these issues that has been going on in social media. This is not from Anthony Yanga.
This one say after the election, a lot of concerns from international institutions with regard those that involve election fraud. With regard the visa restriction, does it have any linkages with those that overstay?
This one from Patrick Mami say, will the restriction affect the DV lottery results for 2026?
This one said, thank you, Radio Democracy, for bringing a United States ambassador to the studio.
This one from Michael Asmoa
out that if people are just now filing their final paperwork with the MVC or haven't yet filed their paperwork in full with the National Visa Center, that there's going to be sufficient time left for them to be able to get a diversity visa lottery for this year. As far as the questions about the diversity visa lottery overall, let me be clear, there are no visa restrictions right now. So it would be, there's nothing right now in place that would impact the issuance of diversity visas by the embassy, either in this cycle or in future cycles. Always subject to change, but as of right now, there's nothing there. In terms of the questions about whether or not we can release names of those who were affected by the visa restriction policy after the 2023 elections, no. By law, the United States cannot discuss individual decisions about eligibility or ineligibility for visas with anyone other than the individual who is affected.
And I think it's necessary to engage the consular department because a whole lot of messages, whether from our 0779819 and our Facebook page, has to do with the DV issue. Mm-hmm. But this one from Mohammed S. Bangura on our Facebook page say, Ambassador Hunt, welcome to the limelight. Mr. Hunt, why do you fail to refund applicants who didn't get the visa, the U.S. visa from your embassy here in Sierra Leone? Don't you think that you are robbing off the ordinary citizens who applied for the visas? And what do you use the money which applicants wire to your embassy for visas? Regards, Okensu.
So there is an application fee that is applied by Congress, by law, to anyone who wishes to apply for a U.S. visa. That covers the cost of processing the application, of employing the consular staff that processes the application, and that conducts the interview. It is not a fee for visa issuance. In some countries, there are separate reciprocal fees for the actual issuance of a non-immigrant visa. We do not have those between Sierra Leone and the United States. So what people are paying is a fee to apply for a visa. So as soon as you have applied for that visa, you have already received the benefit for which you paid, whether or not that visa is issued. There are no refunds because you did not qualify for the visa that you applied for, because those funds are used for the cost of reviewing your application and making the determination as to whether or not you are eligible.
After the 2023 election, the United States government issued that going to ban government officials or officials that involve in election fraud. What is the current state of that particular issue?
So that was issued by the Secretary of State. That remains in effect. So individuals who fall under the ineligibility that was listed there would remain ineligible to receive U.S. visas.
So the ban is not in effect?
It is still in effect. The restriction on those, the restriction is in place for those specific individuals.
Ambassador, this one says, if only the ambassador is aware of how slow the current DV 2025 interview schedule is at the Freetown Embassy, the hopes of Sierra Leone's DV 2025 winners would be restored once again. Like I earlier said, we don't have time again in the studio, but it's recommended that the consular department or the embassy go through our Facebook page and look at the concerns of Sierra Leoneans that want a DV 2025. There are a lot of concerns. Nearly all the messages are directed at the issue and the